payments. In just a few minutes, we put together a plan that gets you out of debt and keeps you out of debt. I love my job. It's a great program and a very smart way to find debt relief.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496.
I'm Claire, a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-936-5496.
Here is the latest news and information that impacts you. I'm Derek White. State and local leaders will host the No Water Summit May 2nd at the Hilton Garden Inn in Hayes, focusing on water issues in western Kansas. A $25 registration is due by April 25th with an optional tour set for May 1st. The Kansas Supreme Court will be holding a special session Tuesday, April 29th at the Life Center in Logan. Doors will open at 8:15 a.m. with a presentation at 9:30 by Chief Justice Marla Luckert. At 10, the court will hear oral arguments in a case involving Stanton Holt, convicted in 1994 of 2 murders and multiple burglaries. Holt is appealing the denial of his request for post-conviction DNA testing. Amazon will be bringing a new last-mile delivery facility to Garden City. The company hasn't announced an opening date yet, but says the site will be staffed by part-time employees with flexible schedules. For more information on this and other stories, visit nwksradio.net.
Rocket 1025.
Disturbances coming out of Colorado today and tomorrow will increase our chances for rain the next couple of days. Later this afternoon, we could see a round of showers and storms move through the evening hours with some severe weather potential with hail up to 2 inches, wind 65 miles per hour, maybe an isolated tornado and locally heavy rainfall. This morning's east-northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour will turn to the southeast, increasing 15 to 25 miles per hour, as well as clouds as that system moves through, and high temperatures will top out in the low 70s and lows in the upper 40s. Tomorrow will be cloudy and cooler with highs in the upper 50s with northeast winds around 10 miles per hour. There's late afternoon and evening storm chances, and then tomorrow night it will remain cloudy with north winds 10 to 20 miles per hour and lows around 40. Friday looks to be cloudy and colder, showers holding off until the overnight hours. Highs in the middle to upper 50s. This meteorologist Chris Schromick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Get ready for powerful deals at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Right now, drive home a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max with 0.9% financing or up to $7,800 in purchase allowance. Step up in luxury in a 2025 Sierra 1500 Denali and get up to $5,250 in purchase allowance. Or take on any job with the 25 Sierra 2500 with 3.9% APR or up to $2,700 in purchase allowance. These offers won't last. Rush into Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or shop online at hurlchev.com.
Spring is here, and Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has everything you need for the season. Get your lawn looking its best with Ultimate Fertilizer and power up with Ego blowers and mowers. Got a project? They got a surplus of lumber ready to go. Plus, fire up the fun with their selection of grills and griddles. Hoover's is also proud to sponsor the Pioneer 5K, 10K, half and full marathon supporting Colby Community College cross country on April 26th and remind you to sign up and participate. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland. And let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
At FNB Bank, we understand the backbone of our community is our local farmers and ranchers. Whether you're growing crops, raising livestock, or investing in new equipment, we're here to help you succeed. Our agricultural loans are tailored to meet the unique needs of your farm with flexible terms from people who understand what it takes to make it in agriculture. When you partner with FNB Bank, you're working with neighbors who know the land and are invested in your success. FNB Bank, rooted in our community, growing with you. Member FDIC.
Get ready for spring and save at Colby Ag Center on Kubota's RTVs, Yamaha RTVs, Yamaha ATVs, Yamaha motorcycle, and Yamaha golf carts. Plus, all their Cub Cadet riding mowers are on sale. What a selection for work or play. You can save today at Colby Ag Center. They have a lot of new, also used trade-ins. They'll make you a deal on used Yamaha four-wheelers, used golf carts. What a sale going on now for a limited time at Colby Ag Center, Oakley Ag Center, and Hoxie Implement.
Wake up, sports fans. It's time to kickstart your day with the Morning Blitz and me, Ross Volkmer. Get the latest updates, in-depth analysis, and a few hot takes on everything from the preps to the pros. Whether you're driving to work or just getting your day started, I've got you covered with all the local sports talk you crave. So don't miss out. Tune in every weekday morning starting at 7 Mountain, 8 Central Time on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 to the Morning Blitz and join the conversation. Miss the show? No problem. Download and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4! It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Give me my cane. I'll show you how to play this game.
The region's only local sports talk.
Dynamite drop-in at broadcast school has really paid off.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5, simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guys everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
Touchdown, the Cowboys!
To the pros.
And Tendy back on the track. It's out of here! Bobby Witt Jr. delivers a go-ahead grand slam!
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
The 0-1. Popped up on the infield in play, backing up the second baseman. Vitolis cannot make the play. Rickard is going to be there safely at first, and coming in to score is Natalie Curran. The Cowgirls extend their lead back to 3. It's 4-1 here in the 5th inning.
1-2 pitch is lined down the left side. It's a fair ball. McMahon scores. Right behind him, Goodman. They're going to wave Tolia. The throw to the plate is offline. A 3-run, 2-out, 2-strike double by Jacobs Stallings, and the Rockies have a 3-2 lead.
Line center field and down. And Freddie Fermin wins it in the bottom of the 11th. And that was the Freddie Fermin show in the later innings.
Julius has it right now. Hachimura wearing another kind of mask. He took it in high. Oh, he got up there. Woo, wow.
And good Wednesday morning, everybody. We are off and rolling here on the Morning Blitz. It's April the 23rd, so glad you're with us here on what is a beautiful start to another Wednesday. 48 degrees and sunshine, a mostly sunny day expected today. Could see a few clouds kind of coming into play, especially here this morning and early afternoon, but breaking away into some partly sunny skies and mostly sunny skies here by this afternoon. But 76 degrees expected to be the temperature today, 76. And then to tomorrow, a little bit of a cool down. We'll have 69 and possibly, fingers crossed, some precipitation on Thursday. 69 and a 55% chance of some precipitation Thursday. Maybe could see a little bit of severe weather. I we'll see about that. Not for sure. I don't think it's going to be anything super bad, but some minor severe weather possibly coming through the region. And then Friday, temperatures even a little bit cooler. Temperatures at 60 degrees, and then windy weekend ahead, 67 and 84 on Saturday and Sunday with plenty of wind. So some spring-like temps and maybe even a little spring-like moisture coming our way here on this Thursday. But glad you're with us. No matter if you're joining us on the Goodland's Rocket 102.5 or, of course, NWKSradio.net or even the Hurdle Chevrolet GMC video stream on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Appreciate you tuning in and chiming in, whether it's on those other those ways or, of course, the F&B Bank text line at 785-899-2222, the numbered part of the Blitz each and every day. Starting here, of course, at 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and rolling for the next hour or so. We've got plenty to get to today. We'll look at yesterday and what was one of the busier days in the local sports calendar here in the spring. We'll get some discussion on that and get to that here in the front page in just a matter of moments. Look back at a very busy local sports day. We will talk with Jake Stevens of GoPowerCat.com. We'll talk some Kansas State spring football. We'll talk some Kansas State basketball. And if Jake can, we'll touch on a little bit on the baseball team, who unfortunately was swept. Well, it depends on who you're talking for, but was swept at Kansas this past weekend. We'll get to that. And then we'll talk a little Royals and Rockies in segment 3 with the Rockies. With the Royals walking off the Rockies 4-3 last night in the 11th. We'll get to that. And then a somber walk-off as one of my all-time favorite broadcasters passed away. We'll talk about that in the walk-off. So anyway, we got lots to get to. Always FB Bank text line open, 785-899-2222. Let's dive into what was a very busy day yesterday in local sports with the front page.
Read all about it. Read all about it.
The top stories of today.
I got the early edition, hot off the press.
It's the front page on the Morning Blitz.
Front page, really?
So like I said yesterday, I kind of joked, but it was pretty much true. I mean, it was a beautiful day, and that's awesome because every single, I don't know if any single school in Kansas or Colorado even had school. I mean, they had school, obviously, but I don't know who was left. If you're the last one out, turn out the lights, kind of that kind of thing yesterday, because everything was happening. There was golf, there was baseball, there was softball, there was track and field, and it was junior high as well. I mean, we were down, of course, in Ulysses. I was down in Ulysses covering Goodland Cowgirls softball, and we stopped to get something to eat on the way home at McDonald's. I mean, that McDonald's had people lined up out the door because they had golf teams there. A track team from Walsh, Colorado, stopped on in there on their way back home. Of course, softball was there. They had a ton of people there, and you could just tell that yesterday there was a ton of local sports stuff happening around the entire state. Just absolutely nuts. Starting in golf, Ulysses Golf Invitational yesterday. Goodland Cowboy Golf continues their great run as they win another tournament yesterday. They beat Dodge City, Scott City, Hugoton, and Colby, and a host of other teams at the Ulysses Invitational as the Cowboys shot a combined score of 333. 5 golfers inside the top 15. Barrett Schlosser led the way with a 79 and heard he had a chance to possibly win or finish second, but had a tough finish to his day yesterday. Then you had Trent Sheldon coming in 7th with an 84. Luke Thomas tied there in that 7th spot for an 84 as well. Blair Lennon finishing in 12th with an 86. Trayton Haas with an 87, tying for 13th there. And then, so you had 5 Cowboys all right there in the top 15, which that's hard to overcome if you've got that many guys in the top 15 spots. So Cowboys really looked good yesterday, and they beat Dodge City by what was 24 strokes, who shot a 357 to finish in second place. Scott City finished in third with a 360, led by Jackson Rumford, who finished tied for 10th with an 85. Hugoton came in 4th with a 366, and Colby in a distant 5th with a 382. The Colby Eagles led by Caleb Dixon, who finished in 4th with an 80. In 13th place, Cade Youngman tied there with an 87, the top 2 golfers for Colby from yesterday. So once again, the Goodland Cowboys, really good showing, finishing 24 strokes ahead of Dodge City, winning the Ulysses Invitational. Got great performances up and down the lineup. And you get that, of course, when you finish with 5 guys in the top 15. So great performance. That's a really strong team. If you can have your guys that are your 3, 4, and 5 golfers finishing in the top 20, you're really going to have a great shot at having bringing home some hardware every single time you step on the links. That is for sure. By the way, Holcomb's Luke Tyne was the individual champion. He had the low score of a 74. That was 4 shots better than Lakin's Noah Garcia, who finished second with a 74 and a 78. And then Barrett Schlosser finished with a 79. They're in third, and Caleb Dixon of Colby with an 80. Those were the individual top 4 placers at the Ulysses Golf Invitational yesterday. So that was a big golf tournament. There's also a very, very big track invitational at Scott City. This 88th Scott City Relays taking place down there in Scott. A ton of teams and a pretty good showing, I'd say, from Colby High School track and field. The Lady Eagles finishing runners-up to Cimarron by just 6 points in what was a very, I thought, for the most part, pretty even out scoreboard across the board. You had a lot of different girls from a lot of different schools score very well. And so you had kind of a more even race when it came to the team standings, but Cimarron able to get the most points, 79 over Colby 73. Lakenwood finishing third, Scott City fourth, and Dighton coming in fifth. Goodland finishing tied in 11th place with Tribune Greeley County. Oakley finished in 8th place in the team standings on the girls' side with a total of 35 points. Men's side was pretty much a two-horse race. It was between the host Scott City and Lakin. Scott City went out there and accumulated 136 total points on their way to defending their home track and winning their own invite. And then Lakin finishing in second place with 120 total team points. Third place was Ulysses with 57, a very distant third place for Ulysses. Colby finishing right behind Ulysses with 52, and Goodland not far behind the Eagles with a 46. Oakley tied in 7th place with 29 points apiece there in that showing down in Scott City. I saw Guy Tubbs was the winner there in the javelin. Lincoln Cure won the 110s and the 300s. I know the 110s, it was a pretty good race between him and the Herenic kid from Phillipsburg. They had a really good showing. Saw Chayton Goodwin for Goodland finishing second in the 200. So some good area showings by athletes. Colby really racked up, I thought, a lot of good points. It's particularly on the boys' side in the field events, it seemed like. And looking at some other results from yesterday, it just kind of depends on who you're looking for. But overall, I'd say a pretty good day for Colby High School track and field, finishing there in second in the girls and fourth in the boys' final team standings at the 88th Scott City Relays. It was a beautiful day for track and field. I mean, there should have been some phenomenal times, and I know that there were for some of the area athletes. Okay, moving on here on the front page here on this Wednesday morning. Moving to the Diamond for baseball. We'll start with the Goodland Cowboy baseball team, who have rattled off 4 consecutive wins after they pick up a sweep yesterday of Ulysses. They win 11-1 and 6-2 over the Tigers at Centennial Park yesterday. The Cowboys getting the offense going in game number 1, scoring 11 runs on 12 hits, had 4 doubles in that 11-1 game that they won, which it only took 6 innings. Then they got a solid start on the mound from Cason Cedarstrom, who threw 3 innings, struck out 5, only walked 2, did not allow a hit. And then Zach Thorson came in, allowed 3 hits and a run in 3 innings of work with a couple of walks. But the Cowboy offense picking it up there. And Caleb Williams doing some work there. He had a 2-hit day and 2 RBIs. Zach Thorson, 3 hits and 3 ribbies. So you love to see the RBI number be big. That means you're hitting with runners on base in scoring position. And the Cowboys did that yesterday in what was an 11-1 victory in game number 1. 6-2 was the score in game 2. Still a win, a game that took all 7 innings to get through. Cowboys offense not as good in game number 1. They still out hit Ulysses 7-4. Caleb Williams 3 2/3, just 1 hit, a run that wasn't earned with 2 strikeouts and a walk. Braylon Mole comes in, throws another 3 1/3 with 3 hits, a run, 2 walks and 2 strikeouts in that ball game. And then offensively, Jared Quayne with a big 2 RBI hit, a double in that game. Deegan Knox also driving in 2 with a couple of hits, as Deegan Knox went 2 for 2 with 2 ribbies. Zach Thorson had another 2 hits in game 2. So Cowboys really playing well here as of late. You look at it, they have rattled off 4 in a row and have won 6 of their last 8. They need all, and they honestly probably, not saying they did, but they could have probably beaten Garden City back on the 14th, at least in one of those games. So they could have won what would be, 7 of their last 8. They've won 6 of their last 8 after an 0-4 start. This is a really good step in the right direction for Coach Avila's program, and they've got another chance to really see what they're made of. They've got a tough game coming up here on Thursday on the road down at Holcomb. I beg your pardon, down at Holcomb. That is on Thursday. We'll have coverage of that game against the Longhorns, who once again, I believe they are at home. I don't think they're at Goodland, or are they at Goodland? Looks like they are at Goodland at this point in time. I don't know. I'll have to double check the schedule there. I thought I wrote it in my calendar that they are. I could be wrong. That might be at home, I guess. We'll see. They take on Holcomb. I know that. I'll double check my calendar, but they take on Holcomb on Thursday. Holcomb is another team that's off to a really good season this year, or had a really good start to their year. They're 13-3. They haven't lost a GWAC game. They're coming off a couple of very easy wins over Spearville 2 days ago. So they're feeling really, really good about themselves. We'll see if the Cowboys can maybe sneak up and get the Holcomb Longhorns here on Thursday. Once again, we'll have coverage of that series no matter where it is here on Goodland's Rocket 102.5. Also a good day at the yard for Colby High School baseball as the Eagles pick up a pair of wins as well. They were able to defeat Hugoton yesterday in pretty convincing fashion. I got those scores here. They were able to win 18-0 and 11-8. Colby has now won 3 straight. They're 10-4 overall, and 4-2 in league play are the Colby Eagles. In softball, Colby Lady Eagles softball picking up a sweep of Hugoton yesterday in Colby. They win convincingly in game 1, 15-0, and then followed that up with a 12-2 win in game 2. They have now won 6 straight. They are 10-4 overall. They remain unbeaten in GWAC play. Lady Eagles will visit Haskell County coming up on Friday. And then Goodland softball with a split yesterday. I know going in there, Coach Tess Smith wanted to get a sweep of Ulysses, but it did not happen. Goodland probably played their most complete game of the season in game number 1, an 8-1 victory. Cowgirls able to get 12 hits in that game 1 victory while only committing 2 errors. That was the thing. They were pitching well. They usually pitch pretty well all season long. Allie Curie does a great job in the circle. She threw a complete game 6-hitter with just 1 run that wasn't earned and had 8 strikeouts. She pitched very, very well in game number 1. The defense behind her only committed 2 errors, which was big, and the offense was firing with 12 hits, including a pair of triples from Ellie Everett, the freshman, who also scored a couple of runs in that game. So the offense was firing for the Cowgirls in game 1 in an 8-1 victory. And then in game number 2, the error bug returned for GHS, who lost 8-7. Cowgirls still out-hit Ulysses 10-8, but 6 errors hurt the Cowgirls defensively. So they, once again, have got to work on cleaning that up. They've already committed more errors to this point in time in the season with 10 games left than they did all of last year. That's what I was trying to say. But really, Ulysses got a big home run and center field hit from their top player, Addie Harbor, who drove in 2 to get the scoring going in the bottom of the 3rd. At one point in time, Goodland found themselves down what was 7-2. Actually, take that back. They were actually down what was 8-3, and they scored 4 runs in the top of the 7th, making things interesting. Had a runner in scoring position with a chance to tie the game up in the top of the 7th, but could not get it done. And the Cowgirls get a split earned with Ulysses. Once again, winning 8-1 in game 1, but losing 8-2 despite a great late rally, 8-7. And Cowgirls 2-8 overall, 2-4 in GWAC play. Heading into their Friday home series, they've got Lakin coming up here at home. So that ought to be a very big game. I know the Cowgirls want to try to get some momentum going here. They've got a lot of games ahead where they have a chance to win. I'm not saying they will win, but they have a chance to win, especially if they can keep the bats going and if they can find a way to continue to sharpen up that defense. Well, it looked better. Still needs to be better, though, if they're going to not shoot themselves in the foot and get some more wins. So Goodland softball picking up a win yesterday down there in in Ulysses. I'm getting all my towns messed up down in southwest Kansas today. Trojan baseball, Colby Trojan baseball yesterday. Losing a single 9-inning game to McCook. I don't know what it is about the Colby and McCook when they face off, but it's midweek pitching is what it is. But there is a plethora of runs scored. Colby lost 17-15. This was a series that, 29-27 a couple weeks ago when they played in Colby, and now a 17-15 McCook win over Colby. The Trojans have dropped now to 26-21. They have a big series starting up here against Cloud County today. And I'm intrigued to see if former Goodland Cowboy Cole Linton gets the call to throw in one of the 2 games today. He's close to home. Sometimes the coach is like, hey, if you're ready to go, get out there and throw in front of all your friends and family, because I'm guessing there'll be a good contingent of people watching Cole Linton over there in Colby with just a short trip over there. But you got Cloud County in town in Colby today at Young Memorial Field for a doubleheader that starts at 1 o'clock Central Time. The game's scheduled for 1 and 3. I'll be interested to see if Goodland's own Cole Linton is on the bump throwing for Cloud County today. And that's local sports from yesterday. Oh, I did forget to mention Decatur Community Boys in track and field. I forgot to mention them. They finished second at Plainville, but they were 100 points behind Norton, who won it. So it was Norton dominated that Plainville track invite, but Decatur Community did finish in second in the boys' standings. So there you go, the front page locally. Quickly, just to highlight yesterday, the Royals and the Rockies. They 4-3 the final. The Kansas City Royals pull it out in the end over Colorado. The Royals were up at one point in time 2-0. The Rockies score 3 runs in the top of the 9th thanks to a bases clearing double by Jacob Stallings, which drove in Ryan McMahon, Michael Tolia, and Hunter Goodman. And the Rockies had the lead in the top of the 9th. Kansas City manufactured a way to get a run in the 9th with, in the bottom of the 9th, Michael Massey, a sac fly, driving in Freddie Fermin, who had a phenomenal end of the game. More on that in a second. And then Fermin, in the bottom of the 11th, they singled to center, driving in the winning run for Kansas City to win it 4-3. Pretty good pitching matchup yesterday between Ryan Feltner and Chris Bubich. Bubich, both guys went 7 innings. Bubich allowed no runs on 4 hits with 6 strikeouts, no walks either. And Feltner, 1 run on 3 hits with 4 strikeouts. He did give up a home run to Waters there from Kansas City in the bottom of the 6th. But Jacob Stallings, that 3 RBI was the big hit for them. But it was the Freddie Fermin show from pretty much the 9th inning on. He came in late and replaced Salvador Perez. And he had a snap throw to third, picking off Mickey Moniak, and a base running blunder for the Rockies. And then he was able to, of course, score the game tying run in the bottom of the 9th. And then it was in the 10th that pickoff play happened. And then in the 11th, he singles to center, driving in the winning run, and the Royals get the victory 4-3. Royals improving to 10-14 overall. Rockies dropping to 4-18. That series continues tonight with Herman Marquez and Michael Lorenzen scoring off on the bump. You've got a 6:40 Central, 5:40 Mountain Time first pitch, either on AM 790 KXXX for the Royals or AM 730 KLOE for the Rockies. So, well, we'll get to a break. Well, I'm going to ask a question in segment number 3 about this series, the Royals and the Rockies, coming up in segment 3, after we get done visiting with Jake Stevens, who is waiting patiently for us from GoPowerCat.com. He'll be joining us coming up in a little bit on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. So we'll actually take a break right now and get to Mr. Stevens after the timeout. It is 7:29 Mountain, 8:29 Central Time on a Wednesday, April the 23rd. Once going to be a beautiful day with highs in the mid-70s and possibly some rain on the horizon on Thursday. We'll step aside. Back with Jake Stevens next here on the Morning Blitz.
Spring is here, and Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has everything you need for the season. Get your lawn looking its best with Ultimate Fertilizer and power up with Ego blowers and mowers. Got a project? They got a surplus of lumber ready to go. Plus, fire up the fun with their selection of grills and griddles. Hoover's is also proud to sponsor the Pioneer 5K, 10K, half and full marathon supporting Colby Community College cross country on April 26th and remind you to sign up and participate. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring.
It's time to check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Wednesday, April 23rd. On the overnight last night, May corn lower 2 3/4 at 4.73. July down 3 1/4 at 4.80. September down 3 1/2 at 4.46 1/2. December corn down 3 1/4 at 4.54 3/4. May soybeans up 3 on the overnights at 10.38. July up 2 1/4 at 10.48 1/4. August up a cent at 10.41 1/2. September down a quarter cent at 10.21. Chicago Lisa May contract lower 2 3/4 at 5.32 3/4. July down 2 3/4 at 5.47 1/2. September down 2 1/2 at 5.61 3/4. December down 2 1/2 at 5.83 1/2. Kansas City wheat May contract lower 3 1/4 at 5.42 3/4. July down 3 3/4 at 5.54 1/2. September down 3 1/2 at 5.69 1/2. December hard wheat down 3 1/2 at 5.92 3/4. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up $769 at 40,126. The S&P up 135 at 5,450. The Nasdaq up $566 at 18,951. Gold lower $91.60 an ounce at $3,327.80. Crude oil down $1 at $63.33 a barrel. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hanke or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Pluto, Jared Law, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Palmer Amaranth. 4 counts of yield theft, resistance to groups 2, 4, 9.
You ain't got nothing on me, man.
We've been surveilling you. And now we've got Tough 5EC, a tank mix partner that'll make sure you and your gang of resistant weeds never see the daylight again.
Crack down on repeat offenders. Add Tough 5EC to your post-emergence tank mix. Learn more at toughnweeds.com. Always read and follow label directions. Tough is a registered trademark of Belgium Crop Protection.
Farmers and ranchers, are you looking to sell your equipment at auction for 0 fees and 0 commissions? Well, then you need to check out Hayden Outdoors' new online equipment auction platform. You can list your equipment in our monthly online auctions using our easy-to-use platform, and you don't pay any fees or commissions. Visit HaydenOutdoors.com to learn more. That's HaydenOutdoors.com.
Ross Volkmer.
I love him. I think he's great.
Okay.
I think he's a real winner.
It's the Morning Blitz.
Three minutes past the bottom of the hour here on a Wednesday morning. As always, F&B Bank text line open at 785-899-2222. That's going to be part of the Morning Blitz each and every day. Get your thoughts and comments in. We'll get to some thoughts on the Royals and the Rockies in our third segment. But we are pleased to be joined on the Pearl Chevrolet GMC video stream by our good friend Jake Stevens from GoPowerCat.com. Jake, good to see you moved out of that brick cellar that you were in the last time we talked to you, amigo. How are you doing today?
We got out of the jail cell, Ross. It's good to be back here. I'm happy to be here.
For some reason, I don't hear Jake for whatever reason that is. I don't even know why. Sorry, Jake. I don't know if your microphone. I know you can hear me. I don't know if I've got. I don't know if your microphone or something's turned off. We'll see if we can get to Jake to get that figured out at this
point.
Here,
you got me now.
I don't know if maybe it's something I'm doing wrong on my end. I don't think so. But
am I there now?
I never know. I guess Jake is supposed to be joining us on the. Maybe some people can hear him. I can't hear him at this point in time. We'll see. Jake will pop back out. He'll pop back in here in just a minute. We'll see if we can get him on the show or get him going here on this deal. This is what happens when you have, unfortunately, some technical difficulties. You try to get a few things ironed out, and we'll see if we can get this done. I haven't really had that happen very much, so we'll see if we get Jake back on the show here. And I don't know. Jake, I know, can hear me. I don't know if we can hear him. We'll see if we can get this working here. Jake, are you there now or no?
Yes, you got me this time?
Oh, man, I still can't hear him. What the?
Really?
That's now you've got me concerned, Jake. Now you're starting to think it's on my end somewhere.
What?
Trying to see if there is anything here. I don't think it is. I've got everything in. Let's see. Okay, well, let's tell you what, Jake. Let's try this. Let's try this, amigo. Try this. How about that? Right. Are you there? Hey!
Look at that. There we go.
Operator error by me, Mr. Dummy. So,
no worries.
How are we doing today, buddy? Good to see you moved out of that brick house.
Yeah, we're out of the jail cell now, Ross. I'm excited to be back. We upgraded for sure.
Yeah, I tell you what, looks good. Looks really, really good. I'm guessing is this a dorm room of some sort? It looks like it. It looks like a dorm room.
You got me pegged. I'm still in college, so we're still living the beautiful dorm life.
Well, you never know. You're an upper classman. You never know. Sometimes those guys like to move out into some sort of apartment or something. So you're still digging the dorm life, are you?
Well, I'm living with a buddy. We're in an apartment, but pretty much a dorm room.
The thing that stands out to me is your shoe collection above your right shoulder. The boots, 3 pairs of boots, including a purple pair. Man.
Yeah, we got to have the game day boots. Then you got to have the beaters too, of course. So got to love the game day boots shine a little bit brighter than the rest, though.
It looks good, buddy. Glad that you're with us here on the Morning Blitz. Once again, Jake Stevens of GoPowerCat.com. Jake, I want to start in football. What are some things? Spring football isn't as big as it used to be across the nation. And in some markets, spring football is massive, whether it's Alabama or Michigan or Nebraska or Oklahoma. It was big. They had huge, there used to be humongous crowds of 60,000 plus. And we've seen a bunch of other schools now across the country go either away from spring games and go to these showcases. And we've seen fan attendance just completely tank here this year. Kansas State's never really been like that. They've never really been one for having a big spring game. So what do you guys take away there at Go Power Cat from the spring period that the football team has had?
Yeah, that's a great question. And like you said, a lot of teams have kind of gone away from it, which it doesn't affect K-State a whole lot just because it's never been a thing for us. But I think my biggest takeaway is one thing that the Cats did differently this year was they extended their strength period for 3 weeks. So rather than getting right into the football activity, they extended their strength period. They were putting on weight on guys. And I mean, they got 4 guys to run 23 plus miles an hour that might not have happened. So they've got some speed coming back. They've got a lot of guys that have bulked up and put on a lot of healthy weight. And then football wise, we've always kind of been a program that disguises a lot of stuff that we do. We don't want to show a lot of stuff in the spring. And that's kind of one of the reasons that we don't have the spring game. But I mean, getting to go to a couple of practices and see things for myself, you just notice the speed more than anything. Guys got faster. I think extending that weight program that we typically do for 3 extra weeks in the spring period really helped us. And you can see guys on the field just look faster. They look bigger. They look stronger. And I'm excited because Coach True in the weight room has really put on a lot of healthy weight on a lot of guys.
Do you feel like that it had to be a focus course this offseason, but was that something that was maybe brought to their attention as the season went on last year, that maybe we got to get faster, or, we need to be bigger, maybe we're not as physical as a team as we used to? Because, Kansas State, I think for a while there in the Big 12, just recently, was probably the most physical football team in the Big 12. And maybe with the additions and subtractions of teams, maybe that's changed.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think you've seen teams like Iowa State and Arizona State even kind of surprise a lot of people, but Utah's another physical addition. BYU's a physical addition. So there's a lot of teams in the Big 12 now that are playing this physical brand of upfront smash mouth football, where it hadn't always been like that. I mean, Oklahoma and Texas back in the day did a lot of that, but kind of had gone away in that in recent years before they left the conference. So yeah, I think that's really been a huge emphasis is we've got to get weight on guys. We've got to get speed on guys. If we want to be the team that we know we can be and be this team that K-State prides itself in being is a conference contender every single year, you've got to get stronger. You've got to get faster. And not only to contend for the conference, but going even further than that in this new age of the college football playoff where every conference is going to have a team in there. If K-State wants a chance to be able to compete with these teams that are at the highest, the teams you were talking about earlier, the Alabamas, the Michigans, the Ohio States, K-State's going to have to get guys to get faster and stronger. And so I think that was really the biggest emphasis is if we're going to make this deep run that we know we can and we have the talent to do, then we've got to get guys ready to do that earlier, especially with the season starting a week earlier this year for K-State because they're playing in Ireland.
Once again, we're visiting with Jake Stevens of GoPowerCat.com, talking some spring football here. I was trying to find, is it over yet? Is this the final week? What's the calendar like for that?
Yeah, this is really like the final week. We'll have press conferences today, actually. So we'll kind of get the last words of what spring ball period looked like. And then we've got a couple months off, but well, not even a couple months, but a little bit of a break before summer ball technically kicks in and starts up. So today will kind of really be our last taste as to what we're getting fed from the inside and what the coaches have to say. And we'll get to meet a couple players too in some breakout sessions. But this is really kind of it. It all kind of ramped up and ramped down really quick.
You mentioned the speed was the biggest thing that you took away when you got the chance to watch some practice. I'm always interested in individuals that stood out. Were there any that really stood out to you individually?
Man, we talk speed. It's really easy to bring up Avery Johnson's name because, I mean, right there, you've got one of the fastest quarterbacks in the country, and he's running over 23 miles an hour now. He's put on 10 or 15 pounds since last year, too. So the coaches said he's up to about 200 pounds. They're expecting him to be about 205 pounds by the time the season rolls around, and he's going to be the fastest quarterback in the country. So watching him play and continue to grow with his feet, but also with his arm has been fantastic. He's thrown a couple really nice balls in the team sessions we've got to be at. VJ Payne on the defensive side of the ball, he is really flying around. He changed his number to number 7. So if you're watching the Cats, don't be surprised. It's not 19 anymore, but he is really flying around on the defensive side of the ball. And he's going to be one of the leaders on that back end of that defense. With just a lot of departures, you've got Jacob Parrish and Marquise Siegel both gone. So having VJ Payne's experience return is going to be really big for the Cats. And then, of course, Dylan Edwards. I mean, you think about speed, he is speed. That is what speed personified looks like. So when he gets the ball, I mean, if he's outside, nobody's catching him. And he was like that last year, but he's even faster this year. So we've got a lot of guys flying around the field, a lot of guys looking healthy, which is great. Not too many injury concerns at this point. So all good things for the Cats so far.
You bring up Avery Johnson. One of the biggest things I thought, going into last year was that how do you ride that fine line between having all this amazing speed and yet still being big enough to possibly take a pounding if it happens? Because if you run enough or, You don't get good enough protection, you could get hit. And that's a fine line. You want to be bulked up enough to take that pain, but also at the same time be fast enough, of course, to be that speedster that he knows he is.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you think about the identity of K-State throughout the years and their quarterbacks. It's been Colin Klein and Jake Waters taking QB powers up the middle and carrying the ball 30 times a game. And those carries look a lot different than Avery Johnson's carries will, because Colin Klein was a 235, 240-pound quarterback. They could take that bruising, and everybody knew he could. Game plan was for him to have 25 carries a game. Avery's not so much going to run that QB power up the middle. He wants to get outside. He wants to be able to, build up that speed and momentum and then get out the gate outside. So I think putting on 10 or 15 pounds for him has been really big, because even just in practice, you notice his stature. He looks more like a quarterback. He is a little bit more filled out. He looks a little bit more comfortable and more poised in the pocket too, which has been good, because I think that's been an emphasis on him as a player, is that we all know he can run. Everybody knows he can run. It's not a secret. I mean, his freshman year, that Texas Tech game, he ran for 5 touchdowns right away. So that's not a secret, but putting on 10 or 15 pounds he's not going to be the biggest quarterback in the world, but at 200 pounds, 205 pounds, he's big enough that if somebody comes screaming off the edge and he gets hit, or he's in the open field trying to make a cut and gets hit, he's able to take that hit now. And he went through some injury concerns last year, and there was some talk that there were some bumps and bruises that might have gone unannounced, but this year I feel a lot more comfortable, and I think he even carries himself a little bit more comfortably, knowing that he's got some additional weight on him, he's got some additional mass, and he seems like he's a little bit more comfortable in that role of being able to take a hit, get back up, and keep going.
Once again, Jake Stevens is our guest from GoPowerCats.com. He joins us via the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. The offensive line, of course, wanted to be some changes. With the new coach, Connor Riley is gone. He's in the NFL. What have been the rumors and the storylines and the news that you've heard through the grapevine on how the offensive line is looking underneath new coaching? And how have these new coaches that have come in for Kansas State, how have they made their impact from what you've heard?
Yeah, that's a great question, because as we all know, K-State is the home of the beef. It's up front for the Cats. It always has been. So Coach Brian LePack has moved over to offensive line from the tight end room. I think that's a really, really good transition to be able to move that within the own program and have a guy that's been around. Especially with this offensive line that's going to look a lot different this year than it did last year. You've got Taylor Portier returning for his 7th year now, but he's had a lot of injury concerns and missed a lot of seasons because of that. So expect him on the inside, expect Sam Hecht back at center and Andrew Leingang back on the right guard spot. But then the tackles are kind of up in the air still. We've got George Fitzpatrick came in from Ohio State, and there have been a lot of good talks about him. First press conference of the year, Chris Kleiman couldn't stop bragging about him. So he's looking to get a role. Gus Hawkins, one of the young guys that's kind of stepped up. They think that he's ready. So I would probably expect those two at the tackle spots early, but that is totally up in the air and could change. But with Coach LePack there, having a guy that is experienced within the program and within the organization is huge, because not only can he go help out with the tight ends if he needs to, and the tight end coach now is Luke Wells, I'm sorry. Luke Wells, Matt Wells' brother. And so they brought him to coach the tight ends, and he's coached with his brother, Matt Wells, quite a few times in the past. So he brings in plenty of experience there, but Coach LePack is able to operate this offensive line, who he saw Connor Riley operate with for years, but then also is able to go help those tight ends if he needs to. So I think it was a really good move, and I think that LePack is in the right spot with this O-line.
What will be the question that you, or a couple of questions that you're hoping to get answers to today when you get to meet with them kind of in the final little exclamation point on spring football here of 2025?
Yeah, I think my biggest question mark right now is this wide receiver room. And I think for a lot of years in a row, the K-State fan has wondered, well, we know we're going to be able to run the ball. We're not super scared about the offensive line because for whatever reason, it feels like K-State's offensive line is always going to be solid or at least good enough. So then it's this wide receiver room. Is Avery going to be able to rely on these guys in the red zone, where last year was only tight ends and running backs that caught touchdowns? Is Avery going to be able to space the ball out a little bit more this year in an offense that's got speed everywhere? He's got chemistry with Jace Brown. And so Jace Brown returns as the number one guy. But then you bring in Jaron Bradley and Jerron Tibbs. And there's been a lot of noise about these guys in the offseason. So we'll see. I think that they're big targets. They're big wideouts. But I'd just like to hear about their progress, learn kind of how far they've come in spring ball, which obviously you're not going to get the best taste of what they can do in spring ball, but you're getting something, and just building this chemistry and the age of the transfer portal where it feels like roster turnover never stops. how effective is this passing game going to be this year when you bring back 4 tight ends and you bring in Lincoln Cure from out there where you guys are at. So you know that the tight end room is going to be great. But it's the wide receiver room. And I think that's my question on offense. And then defensively, it's all in the secondary, because up front, you've got a ton of returners. In the linebacker room, you bring back Austin Romaine, who's an all-conference guy, and Des Purnell, who I think could be an all-conference guy this year. So you really have a lot returning in the front 7. But it's the back end of the defense. It's you bring in 3 safeties, 2 new corners. You've got 2 young corners in Donovan McIntosh and Zayshawn Rich, who played really well in the bowl game, but that's really the only experience they've got. So VJ Payne's going to be the leader of this defense, and you bring in Gunnar Maldonado, who is a 5th-year guy from Arizona. But it's really the skill guys on both sides of the ball that I think are the biggest question marks and biggest concerns at this point, but excited to learn more and hear more about them today.
Jake Stevens, can you join us here from GoPowerCat.com? Changing gears to basketball. We saw news earlier this week that C.J. Jones is going to enter the portal, and that's kind of been the story of the offseason so far for Kansas State. What are your thoughts on what Jerome Tang is attempting to do? I mean, is this exodus of players kind of due to his kind of like maybe, hey, guys, we're probably going to go a different direction type deal? Or is this like, coach, we're not liking where we're at, we're going to leave? And what's your read on that situation?
I think there's a little bit of both, Ross. I think it's a really interesting narrative that's been created, because before the portal even opened, Tang comes out and says, we want to try this Houston model. And with the Houston model, he's talking about retaining all your guys, making sure that you're not losing guys to the portal every year. And you're going to lose 2 or 3 guys. Everybody knows that. But you're not losing 8 or 9 guys. And so it sounded kind of like that was the goal of the offseason. And then that obviously hasn't been executed to the point that we probably would have all liked to see, just because, I mean, we've had everybody leave but 3 guys from the team last year that could come back. So it's kind of tough in that stance where as a fan wants to see, and we hear that we're trying to do this Houston model deal. We're not getting that. And we've gotten to the point where we knew we aren't getting that. But a departure like CJ Jones and guys like Doug McDaniel, who you didn't necessarily think were going to hit the portal, and now they're gone. And it's just kind of like, all right, like now we have to rotate and pivot somewhere. But I do think at the same time, he's brought in a couple of really quality transfers. And what I like that he's doing the most is that what he harped about the Elite 8 run a few years ago was that he brought in a bunch of winners and guys that won high school state championships or won the NIT or won even their conference at a lower school. He's doing that again. And we've got Nate Johnson from Akron just came in. We got the 6-man from UNC Wilmington. Both were tournament teams and won their conference. So I think that's a step that maybe not a lot of people are noticing, but could potentially be the route that he's trying to take here.
It's a fascinating point. Yeah, how do you trade talent for winning mentality or vice versa? Yeah, I don't know. And he's still got a lot of holes to fill. I mean, they got a lot of holes to fill still. I mean, like you said, they only got what, maybe 5 guys?
I know there's at least 6 roster spots for scholarships open. I think 7 even still. So it's a work in progress, to say the least.
I mean, it's not good at Kansas State, but it's not Baylor bad where you have a whole brand new team next year. So
yeah, that would be a tough spot to be in for sure.
I don't know. How do you feel about this era? You're a young man, so you haven't been following it as long as some of us have been following a bit longer and remember the days of watching a team grow together from freshmen to seniors or if they were really good to juniors. Now you see you see a guy playing at 4 different schools in 4 separate years, and if he gets a 5th year, it'll probably be 5-5. As a young man, how do you feel about all this?
I can't stand it, Ross. I think it's the worst thing in the world. I hate college sports are supposed to be about the college and the school, and you're supposed to be able to build that long-term connection. And the state of sport right now just doesn't feel like that's of any interest. And, you and I don't get to decide how this goes down. We don't get to make the rules, but I'm not a huge fan of the way that the portal works right now.
Volkmer and Stevens for College Sports Commission. Put us in charge.
We can handle it.
We'll fix this problem. You're not going to like how I fix it, but we're going to fix it with an iron fist. Jake Stevens. So what was that again? Sorry, you cut out there for a second.
No, it'd be a blast. I think we can find a way to get it done.
Probably so. Jake Stevens, once again, Go Power Cat, our guest here on the Morning Blitz. I know you guys don't cover a ton of Kansas State baseball, but it's been a pretty good season for the Wildcats on the diamond, minus what happened last weekend in the Sunflower Showdown with 3 tight losses. to Kansas. But boy, it really has been, to an extent, a little bit of an up and down year for Phil Hughes' crew, because boy, they got off to a really good start, played well, and have kind of cooled off here as late. Now they did pick up a nice win last night over Wichita State, thanks to some home runs, but kind of has been up and down year for K-State baseball, hadn't it?
Absolutely. To up and down would be probably an understatement at this point, just because they came out of the gates firing and obviously building off last year where you almost make it to the College World Series. You get to the Super Regional, you knock off Arkansas, and I mean, everything was rolling. And then you come into this season, you get a great start. You start off 8-1 in the Big 12 and think you're rolling. And then you drop the weekend. I think we got swept against Oklahoma State on the road, and they were kind of some of the bottom dwellers of the conference. And then obviously getting swept by KU always hurts. But it's a team that still has the experience and the talent, and they've shown that throughout the year to get back into the postseason. I'm not going to go as far as to say we're going to make it back to the Super Regionals this year, but it's a team that has that talent, and they've got that capability. They've shown it. They've beat some of the top teams in the Big 12. But, I mean, just last week you go on a 5-game skid, you lose a couple to Northeastern, and then you get swept by KU, and all of a sudden you're kind of scratching your head like, well, this is a team that started 8-1 in the conference. What happened? And I don't know. Coach Hughes will get this thing turned around. He did last year. There's a little bit of a midseason skid, and I'm pretty confident that he'll get it turned around and moving back in the right direction. If last night wasn't a good enough display, I mean, putting up 14 runs against Wichita State, who is having a down year, but historically is a pretty solid program on the baseball side of things. So I don't know. It's definitely been an up and down year, but I mean, you've got some studs, Maximus Martin, AJ Avasco. You've got some guys that have really stepped up to the plate this year, and in a spot where, I mean, you lose 5 guys to the draft last year too. So I think this team will get it turned around, and I really do think this is still a postseason baseball team.
He, once again, is Jake Stevens of GoPowerCat.com. Jake, we appreciate you joining us, my friend. It's always good to visit with you. Stay well, all right? We'll catch up soon.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Ross.
Once again, great stuff there from Jake Stevens of GoPowerCat.com, joining us on the Hurdle Chevrolet GMC video stream. All right, we're going to take another break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show with some thoughts on the Royals and Rockies and that win for KC last night. This is The Blitz.
Farmers and ranchers, are you looking to build better yields from the ground up? Fed and Happy's all-natural worm castings and compost extracts restore soil health, improve water retention, and boost crop performance without synthetic inputs. Whether it's dry land, irrigated crops, or pasture, get the microbe that yields everywhere in your operations and life. Join the soil health revolution. Visit fedandhappy.com or call 833-GO-WORMS. That's 833-GO-WORMS. Fed and Happy. Feature soil. Grow your success.
Get ready for powerful deals at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Right now, drive home a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max with 0.9% financing or up to $7,800 in purchase allowance. Step up in luxury in a 2025 Sierra 1500 Denali and get up to $5,250 in purchase allowance. Or take on any job with the 25 Sierra 2500 with 3.9% APR or up to $2,700 in purchase allowance. These offers won't last. Rush into Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today, or shop online at hurlchev.com.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Convenience just got an upgrade. Farmers State Bank of Oakley is excited to announce the opening of our brand new ATM along Highway 40, right next to Sonic Drive-In. Whether you're grabbing a snack or on the go, you can quickly access your cash without the detour. It's banking made easy, right where you need it. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
Want to be part of the Morning Blitz?
Sometime I'll give you a piece of my mind, like right now.
Send your thoughts to the F&B Bank text line at 785-899-2222.
Just a couple minutes left to go on a Wednesday show. Great conversation with Jake Stevens. If you love K-State sports, you want to go back and check that out on the podcast. If you missed any of that conversation with Jake. Royals and Rockies once again facing off again in Game 2 tonight if the Royals win 4-3. There's an interesting stat about Kansas City. They've gone 17 games without scoring more than 4 runs. 17 games without scoring more than 4 runs. That's the longest streak by an AL team since the Royals did it in 2018, and they did it for 19 straight games. So Kansas City has scored 4 or fewer runs in 22 of 24 games this season. Once again, I'm going to repeat these stats. Kansas City has scored 4 or fewer runs in 22 of 24 games this season. Look, Kansas City's pitching has no doubt been great. It has been awesome. There is no complaints here on Kansas City pitching. It has been phenomenal. The problem has been that they cannot score enough runs to get that winning record, to get that win-loss record above 500. That's the biggest thing holding them back. They just cannot find a way to score enough runs. Run support is an issue. They're getting hits. They're just not scoring enough runs. That's amazing. Think about the Royals if they could just find a way to score a few more runs every now and then. I mean, once again, you look at it. We talked about that. I mean, their wins this year. You can the last time they scored over 4 more runs. I mean, that was the last time they did that. They scored over that amount was, let's see, that was against the Orioles. They won 8-2. 8-2 in the second home series of the season. They won 8-2. They beat the Brewers. They've only reached double-digit runs once, which I'm not expecting you to do that all the time. This is the major leagues. But 8 runs, over 5 runs. I was going to see, what about over 5 runs? Let's see here. 1, 2. Yeah, that's it. 2 times they've scored over 5 runs. 5 runs or more. Got to have more production from the offense if you're going to get wins at a more consistent basis if you are Kansas City. I don't know what they got to do that. I don't know if they got to bring up Jack Caglione and get him going again and get him going already in the lineup. I don't know what they have to do. They have to find a way to score more runs. Their pitching is right there. It's really good. I mean, if you're able to win games because your pitching is holding teams under 5 runs, that's really good. But you got to score more than 5, I think, in today's baseball, particularly in the era of hitting the ball out of the ballpark and doing that kind of stuff. But I had a question. I'll hopefully get to that at some point in time. My question is, who actually is in a worse spot currently, the Royals or the Rockies? And I might have an interesting answer for you if we get to that hopefully tomorrow. We'll see. Tomorrow we're certainly going to talk some NFL draft as the NFL draft does get going tomorrow. So we'll talk about that, and we'll get some other things probably in tomorrow's program. Even the news that listener Andy chimed in about the whole situation over at Arkansas with Nico's brother Madden and all the interesting things going on there. So we'll get to all that possibly coming up in tomorrow's program.
High drive, deep left, grand slam, and back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Grady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Really nothing in local sports today. Honestly, there's the softball season that usually you'd have, junior college softball. It's kind of winding down. Got about the last 2 series of the season before postseason play begins. So no local sports today on this Wednesday that I know of. But a sad day yesterday as one of my favorite broadcasters, Mike Patrick, passed away at the age of 80 of natural causes. He spent 36 years as the play-by-play commentator for ESPN. He was the voice of NFL's Sunday Night Football for 18 seasons. The thing about Mike Patrick, I always thought, was that he was so versatile. He did football. He did basketball. The thing that I remember Mike Patrick for the most was watching him at the College World Series, particularly when it was at Rosenblatt Stadium. He was fantastic. Hello, everybody. Mike Patrick with you here. He just had an inviting way of welcoming you to the broadcast. He wanted you to come on in and join them for a game. He was so good, I thought, about bringing you in and having you be a part of the telecast. He always had great energy and a very keen knowledge of everything that he did. So Mike Patrick, one of my all-time favorite broadcasters, passed away yesterday at the age 80. It's a sad day. I miss him to this day. There's some good ones coming up, on ESPN. There's some really, really good ones. Mike Monaco's another good one that I really enjoy. Golly, I forget the guy who starts with it's not Buchagras, but another guy that's really, really good. He was doing hockey last night. He's fantastic as well. But man, yeah, Mike Patrick, loved him in all the sports. But I fell in love with his calls during the College World Series when he was doing those in Omaha. That'll do it for our show today. Thanks again to Jake Stevens. Thanks, of course, to you for tuning in. We're back again tomorrow in 23 hours on a Thursday. Hope you join us. It's been the Morning Blitz.
Rockin' 102.5 is KKCI, Goodland, Colby, Burlington. This is